Hello everyone and welcome to my Blade and Soul, I wouldn't call this a review. Let's call this a impressions so far video. So for the past couple of weeks I've had the opportunity to play quite a bit of Blade and Soul. And what I've found is when I log in, I'm very excited to be back in the game and to relive all the awesome things that I did the night before. But by the time I log off, I'm exhausted, I'm relieved, and I'm just frustrated. So I've made a list of things that I find to be fantastic with Blade and Soul. Things that make it unique, things that make it fun, things that make it a great game. I also have a slightly larger list of things in Blade and Soul that drive me up the fucking wall. So without further ado, let's get into some of these points. Combat. Combat in Blade and Soul is what I think is the best part of Blade and Soul. I think this is what makes it unique, what makes it stand out from the rest of the crowd, and what Blade and Soul is all about. If I had to summarize Blade and Soul into one word, it'd be combat. Now, combat in Blade and Soul is dynamic. You have to pay attention, you have to be an active participant in the combat. You can't sit back, tab target, and just spam two abilities. You need to be in your opponent's face, or he's going to be in yours. And you have to actively counter, dodge, block, or evade your enemy's attacks, or you're going to take massive damage and just get brought down really fast. So that level of engagement, I think, is just really fun. And the combat itself is fluid and it's smooth. And again, it's just fun. Every class, every character, they play differently. They feel different. All the classes' combat styles are unique. And even though there's some similarities between something like, say, the Blade Dancer and the Blade Master, it's still a very unique combat style. And no matter who you pick up, which class you feel like playing, you're going to be contributing a lot to the overall combat in the group. And that's a good feeling. So you can really just choose who you want to choose and play what you want to play and know that you're going to be contributing to the group and you know, just being a badass. The weapon upgrade system. Now in most MMOs, you'll be getting your weapon upgrades from mob drops, quest rewards, or dungeon drops. In Blade and Soul, you get your endgame weapon around level 3 or 4. Boom, level 4, you have your endgame weapon. From 4 to 45, this is going to be your jam. Now the way you upgrade your weapon is through an evolve system. So if you open up the panel, you'll see that you can evolve your weapon. And the way it works is you throw in fodder. So as you're killing mobs and doing dungeons and getting quest rewards, you'll get lesser weapons, you know, greens, blues, whatever it may be. And you can throw those weapons into your current weapon and evolve it. Now when you hit level 5, you're going to need a very specific item, and it'll probably be from a smaller dungeon, to break through and go to level 6. Now 6 to 10, same process, just feed it fodder. And once you hit level 10, again, you'll need a very specific weapon to transform it. Now at this point, your weapon transforms and it takes on a new skin, a different look. And then the process starts again. You have to level it from 1 to 5, break through, and then 5 to 10. Now it may seem tedious, but you're consistently getting lower tier weapons that you can feed into this weapon of yours and upgrade it. And the only thing you have to check out, and you can see it well ahead of time, is which weapon you're going to need to break through and to transform. And honestly, if you miss it, if you miss the transform, it's all easily farmable. You can go back and you can get the weapons you need for these transmogs, or the transformations it evolves. It's a great system. It's one less thing to worry about, one less thing to worry about as you're progressing through the story and getting to endgame. And it's a great system. Aesthetics. So even though Blade and Soul is a little older, and you can definitely find the age if you're looking for it, you can find, you know, the lower quality textures, you can find the seams, you can find the lower poly count geo. For the most part, you'll find yourself just sitting back and appreciating the aesthetics of the game. The costume designs, the environment designs are wonderful, and even though there's not a lot of variety in environments, until about maybe 30, and once you hit the desert and the zones after the desert, you'll really see some variety. At that point, more so than ever, you'll really come to appreciate just the beauty of the game and how wonderful the game looks despite its age. PvP. So in Blade & Soul, you have a couple options for PvP. You have 1v1, 3v3, and open world PvP. Now for 1v1 and 3v3, you're going to queue up for the arena, and you're going to go in, normalize gear, and just use everything in your power, every tool you have to try to outwit, outmaneuver, and outplay your enemy. It really comes down to skill and just knowing. It's just responding. It's just all about responding and reacting faster than your enemy, and it becomes like a small chess game. Like, you need to kind of understand what they're going to do and what they want to do. If they're going to try to knock you down, when they're going to try to dodge, and try to work around that, and it becomes this really like great mind game. And it's nerve-wracking, but it's fun, and it just feels great. It feels like a legitimate martial arts movie duel. It's fantastic. As far as open world PvP, the system they have is a bit different, and it's just great. So early on, you're asked to join one of two factions, the Cerulean Order or the Crimson Order. And depending on who you choose, you'll get the corresponding costume. Now, when you're ready to do open world PvP, just put on the costume. And by putting on the costume, you've signed this unspoken, contract, this unspoken agreement that you have, that you're fair game. You're fair game for anyone else who's wearing the other faction's costume. And it's as simple as that. If you want to do open world PvP, you throw on the costume. If you don't, you take it off. And when you see someone wearing the opposing faction's costume, you know that they're fair game. And if you ever feel like you're getting ganked or if it's unfair, you just take it off and you move on. It's that simple. It's great, and I hope other games incorporate it. Dungeons. Now, I like the way dungeons work in Blade & Soul. It's not just one type of dungeon. You have green dungeons, blue dungeons, and purple dungeons. Green dungeons are fodder, no big deal, small reward, but the daily quest that goes with them usually gives you something nice. Blue dungeons are a little more challenging, a little more difficult, and they're responsible for a lot of your breakthrough weapons and accessories, the things that are going to help you evolve your weapons and accessories past level 5. Purple dungeons are your run-of-the-mill MMO dungeon. These are, tough trash, 3 bosses, nice loot. Purple dungeons is where you want to go. Unfortunately, for me, I think having 6 people in a 6-man dungeon, or 4 and 4, just feels like a bit of a steamroll. It feels too easy. We've been going in with 3, and that has been a bunch of fun. So 3 people in a 6-man dungeon, like, that's what feels challenging. The trash is difficult, but doable. And the bosses, you really have to be on top of your game. You have to be on point with your dodges and your downs. It's fun. And the sense of accomplishment that you get from doing it's legitimate again. It feels like you actually accomplished something instead of just like, yeah, we killed the boss. And going in with less people, again, less competition for loot. Whereas 6 people, you're going to have one guy who's a whale, and he's just going to be dropping tons of money. And that's in my negatives list, and we'll get to that a bit later. Okay, now we're here at the negatives. Like I said, I've enjoyed so many different things about Blade & Soul. Blade & Soul has made me very happy, and I've enjoyed so many aspects of the game, and they've done so many things right. But my god, are there so many other things that are just terrible, and they've just been so distracting, and they've been pulling me out of the game that I just have to include this. I had to put in the video, and I just have to vent. So I'm gonna get angry, I'm gonna get frustrated, I'm gonna get very swear wordy, and I apologize, but hopefully by the end of this you'll kind of get a better understanding of what it is that my friends and I have been going through, and the frustrations we've been feeling. Let's start with story, shall we? Now, story, some would argue, is very important to an MMO, right? It's what gets you through. It's what's helping you as you invest hundreds of hours into this game, right? You need to kind of feel some attachment to the story and feel like you're part of this world and feel like what you're doing actually makes a difference. Now, the problem I have with the story here in Blade and Soul is that it's all over the fucking place, right? You start off, and I'll try to, minor spoilers, but you start off, your school, all your friends, blah, blah, are betrayed by someone else that's close to your school, right? And all this badassery happens. You get rocked, you get thrown into the ocean, you're like, oh shit, this is crazy. And you're picked up by a fisherman, or not a fisherman, but he's part of the village, and he says, I used to go to your school too. What do you mean everyone's dead? That's crazy. I'm gonna help you avenge everyone. You're like, yeah, dope. But then he says, I need your help first. We have a spy. Help me with my spy, and I'll help you with your crazy chick. And you're like, yeah, dude, I got you. But then, all right, so you start helping him with the spy, right? And I would think that it's something you just do for like the zone, right? Like this is the zone thing. By the end of the zone, you're kind of okay. But no, it's 3 fucking zones of trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with the spy. And then all of a sudden, you get a quest that's like, hey, go talk to this teacher. He teaches awesome people. And you get thrown into a cave, and all of a sudden you're introduced to the eight masters. And the 8 masters are like just the badasses of the world. And they say that you're the chosen one. You're fucking Neo, and you're destined, and it's been prophesied that you're going to whoop that chick's ass. And cool, man. So now the story's begun, right? You're excited. You're like, yes, this is the story. I'm level 20 now. 18, whatever, and I'm ready to go. But no, you gotta go help them with the spy again, so just pause on that, go back to the spy, but it turns out there's 2 spies now, right? So you have to help and do a couple more zones dealing with more spy bullshit, and by the time you finish with all the spy bullshit, guess what? Like, it never comes up again. It never fucking comes up again. And the dude, he goes, nah, I can't come help you. I can't go with you because the spies really fucked shit up. But talk to that guy. I think he knows stuff. What? So then you go talk to those other people, and it's just, you get introduced to a bunch of new main characters in the storyline. And the storyline shifts. And then there's tons of tangents. Shit's all over the place. With just minor hints back to the main storyline. The main badass intro storyline. And it's kind of hinted at that it's all going to make sense. But you know what? Along the way, you keep doing shit, and it's supposed to be, it's meant to be, you know, just, it's meant to mean something, right? It's meant to be important, what you're doing. And there's a point in the story where you have to go rescue this girl, and she's like innocent, right? But she's important somehow, and you're not really sure how. And then you find out why she's important, so it's really important that you go find her. And you do it, you save her, and now she's like mini Jesus, right? And you're like, whoa, she's mini Jesus. She's so important. We need to do everything in our power to protect this girl. And yeah. And then she goes around telling everyone that she's fucking mini Jesus. And then she gets kidnapped again. Like, fucking 10 minutes after you saved her ass, she got kidnapped again. What? By the same fucking people, too. So it's, what the fuck? It's just like an endless loop of bullshit. So, yeah. Yeah. The main story, the few times you touch upon it, is awesome. And I'm not at the very end of the main story yet. And I'm hoping that I'm happy with, you know, I get some kind of closure at the end. But the ride, the journey to that end has been just frustrating. There's just so many tangents. The story breaks away way too many times. There's just too many small things that don't matter. And it's all things that should be like part of the zone and not part of the main story quest. The main story quest keeps breaking off, and it keeps becoming like small issues that just don't matter. And they try to make it seem like it's all connected, but they do a shitty job doing that. It's frustrating. Voice acting. And now, while there is some great voice acting in this game, I find that it's only great because of how crazy and over the top it is. You know, I never took this game too seriously, so when I see this crazy, over the top, zany characters and they're super anime, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I have no problem, and I think it fits. And if the character is insane but believable, then I'm cool with it. But for the most part, the NPCs and the characters that do speak are just so bland, and they're just like wooden planks with a mouth and some eyes. It's bland. They throw in a couple accents to vary it up and shake it up. So there's like Irish vendors, there's a couple country folk NPCs here and there for some reason. But even those are very, you know, stereotypical. So it doesn't feel unique. It feels contrived. And what they're saying, and it could be a part of the writing itself, what they're saying is just so, it just doesn't feel natural at all. And it's consistently pulling me out of the experience, right? Out of the immersion and out of the story, because it's just shit that either no one would ever say, or it's said in such a weird, blasé way that I'm like, dude, what the fuck? We're supposed to be saving the world right now. Why are you, can you show a little more enthusiasm? Can you say something a little more relevant to the situation? But there it is, and that's probably not going to change. We're way past that point in development. So, unfortunately, it's something we have to live with. Dragon pulses. Where the fuck are they? At 18 or 17, 18, you're introduced to a zone, and they give you a quest that shows you the glory of the Dragon Pulse, right? So you click on the swirly, misty bullshit, and there's a small cinematic that shoots you through the air, and you start flying all Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style. It's great. It looks awesome. It gets you from point A to point B really fast, and the zone where they're showing you this is covered in Dragon Pulses. Covered. And here you are thinking, wow, this will be great. As I'm leveling, as I'm questing, I can jump across the zone, and it'll make my leveling experience really, really fast and unique. And this is something unique to Blade & Soul. This is awesome. But then you never see them again. Between 18 to we're at, low 40s, we've seen three of them. And one of them is in a random dungeon to get you over a 10-foot wall. That's it. It's so dumb. Why put so much emphasis into a system that you don't use? It's terrible. Warlock loot. Now, it may not seem important, but it is. It's crazy, and I'll tell you why. Now, and all the other clients out there that exist, all the Asian clients, they're level 50, and they have a Warlock class. Cool. And now the Warlock class came out when 50 was already a thing. It's balanced to 450, right? So it's not in the game now. That's cool. That's not the issue here. What the issue is that all the Warlock loot is still in the game, right? So what that means is when you're doing dungeons and you're trying to farm for your weapon that you need to upgrade your weapon and to evolve your weapon, you're constantly burning keys, which are a commodity. You need keys, and they're rare, They don't drop all that often. You don't get them all that often. And now you're burning keys to get your weapon, and you keep getting Warlock gear. And not only that, but the percentage of the drops, it's a high percentage of Warlock loot. So you're going to consistently get way more Warlock loot than you are anything else. Now, I can only imagine that when, Warlocks came out, they wanted people to burn through and catch up to everyone else, so they upped the drop rate for Warlock gear. It's fine. That's awesome. And I hope that when the Warlock comes out for NA and the EU, they do that again. But that's not the case right now. So just turn it off. Switch that 1 to a 0. We don't need Warlock loot in the game. It's not relevant at the time, at the moment. And we're just wasting materials trying to get our weapons and constantly being cockblocked by Warlock loot. Skills. Now, while I have skills and combat in general, often the positive side of the video earlier on, it's still a big issue. And the issue is that you don't know what the hell's going on with your skills, right? As you level, you'll see a flash of maybe a skill you learned, and you're like, what was that? What did I just learn? I'm not really sure. So you'll hop into your talent tree and you'll try to figure out what was great last time. I'm not really sure, but I think this is a new skill. And then you have to go through and read all the prerequisite skills and see what needs to be in what state and when you can use that skill, right? And what this means is that you have to figure out the combo to get you to be able to use that skill on your own. Now, early in the game, you have an NPC that shows you every couple levels some new combos, and that's really cool. That's a really unique thing. It shows you that it's a game heavily involved in combat, and combos are a huge deal. So to have an NPC that kind of like holds your hand for a bit, that's great. But the problem is it's early in the game. It's not even halfway through. So more than half of your abilities are just guesswork. And there is a lot of the time a proper way of doing things. There's an ideal combo that you need for a situation, and you don't even have the basis to form that conclusion. You have to, it's just all hit and miss, trial and error. And while I'm okay with that, I find it like not acceptable that you're completely in the dark. And most of that comes from the fact that when reading the prerequisites and what you need to do in order to use a skill, a lot of the translations are bad. So you're reading the translations and you're going, wait, what the hell does that mean? What is the sentence even trying to tell me? I don't understand what effect I'm trying to achieve in order to use this ability. And it just leads to a lot of confusion and a lot of just, well, I'm going to use my Google Foo and try to figure this out. I shouldn't have to go to a third party to figure out basic things and trying to figure out what the hell this skill is even trying to tell me. That shouldn't be the... come on. The loot bidding system. Now, in Blade and Soul by default, when a piece of loot drops, you have to bid on it. So what that means is that when you're running a dungeon with 5 other strangers, the person who has the most money and who wants things is going to get them. So sure, there's the added benefit, if you weren't aware, whoever wins the piece of loot wins it, but the amount of money that was bid gets split by everyone else in the group, and that's great. But if you're farming and you're trying to get a specific piece of loot, finishing your soul shield, whatever, you're going to have to drop massive money against someone who may have loads of it. And it's not the end of the world, but it just slows you down, and it's just another like artificial way to slow you down and get you to where you want to be. It's you already have the RNG of trying to have the piece of loot drop, and now you have an additional RNG of somewhat of just praying that someone doesn't outbid you. And if you're just starting this game and you're holding on to your money, you can't drop 50 silver, a gold on one piece of soul shield. And not to mention that when you're playing with friends, I don't want to outbid my friends. I don't want to have a bidding war with friends, with people I play with consistently. I just want a nice RNG system, a nice roll. I'll let fate take the wheel, and whoever gets it, and the next person, you know, just hits pass, and then it goes to RNG again. That's a nice system. Why do I have to bid? Why? It's so dumb. Mobility. Now, mobility in a game where you have to cross massive expanses is pretty important. Luckily for us in Blade and Soul, we have wind walking, right? So if you have a higher ground, you can just jump off a cliff, wind walk, and gently glide and fly over things, no problem. But what if you want to get there fast? You have to use sprints. And by default, we have 12,000 sprint units, or whatever the fuck. And with an upgrade, you can get it to 15,000. Ooh, now that might sound like a lot, right? You have 15,000 units of sprint. But sprint gets you fucking nowhere. A full bar sprint will get you 20% of the way of where you have to go. Maybe a third of the way, and then you have to walk it. And walking it feels so slow. It feels like it takes ages. Now, and it takes ages to recharge. So if you're doing a quest, which there are many of, that force you to run to someone, run back, run to someone, run back, you're going to be walking the entire thing because your sprint won't have a chance to recharge. Now, what inevitably ends up happening is that you keep hitting shift every time you have just a little bit of sprint left, right? And then you get a sticky keys notification saying you've hit shift way too many times. It's terrible. It's terrible. And not only is the sprint distance horrible, it gets you nowhere. And not only does it take ages for it to come up, but you can't get into a sprint coming out of combat for ages. It takes ages when in combat to get out of combat. And in combat, you're even slower. And combat can be you just accidentally putting too much pressure on a left click and swinging your sword. Now you're in combat and now you're super slow. It's terrible. And for a game that makes you run across a map 1,000 times, there has to be a better solution. You know what? I think they introduced Dragon Souls, right? Or Dragon Pulses. Yeah. Let's use those. Oh wait, they're nowhere to be found. So now we've arrived at the most infuriating part of Blade and Soul for me. And that's the fucking collision. Collision, for the most part, you don't notice because it's usually done well. And when it's done well, you don't notice it's there. And that's the way it should be. Blade and Soul has the opposite effect. I always know where the collision is because it's always wrong, and I'm always getting stuck on it. So for those of you who don't know, for the most part, when you build a piece of geometry, that's not the end all. Like, you don't put down a pole, and now your character knows not to go through the pole. You need to build a collision geometry around it so that your character knows what it can and can't interact with. So for something, let's say like a 2-foot diameter pole, you'll have a 2.1 foot diameter collision geometry. But Blade and Soul, it'll have like a 4 fucking foot diameter. It's huge. And it's not just poles, it's everything, you know, vegetation, rocks, doorways, buildings. The buildings have tiny little doorways to begin with, and now the doorway is crushed in an extra foot because the collision is so massive. It's crazy, and it affects you on a daily basis. Even ledges, even like transitions on the floor, where there's like a little ledge, will have like the craziest collision, so that you get stuck. If there's a change in elevation, you get stuck, and then your character gets stuck, and your sprint, which is a valuable resource, just drains. And it's not like it happens every now and then. No, you're constantly trying to jump to things or run into places, turn corners, and getting stuck. It's terrible. And it's the most fundamental thing of building geometry for a game and building environments for a game. Collision and environment creation go hand in hand. It's part of the process. And this isn't a super old game. Even the older games had phenomenal collision. This is something that they handed off to an intern. The intern just sat there scaling things, and I have no idea what's going on in this game with collision. But it is one of those things that's it seems so simple, but it's so important that when it's wrong, when you can't move the way you want to move in a world where you're trying to be immersed in, it just pulls you out. It pulls you out of everything. It's the easiest way to fuck up immersion in a game. And it's consistently doing that. And it's absolutely unacceptable. And that's it, guys. That's what I have to say about Blade and Soul. It's a game I really, really, really enjoy, but that has so many flaws that I'm finding it hard to just, you know, maintain my immersion and maintain my level of enthusiasm. I really want to like you, Blade and Soul. I do. Just stop making it so hard for me. Alright, guys, if you have any feedback, if you have thoughts, if you have things you like or don't like, just add it in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching. More content soon. A lot less bitching as well. These will be rare. I do bitch a lot, but I don't bitch this often to strangers. So look out for that and enjoy. Thanks, guys.